So, given this short life, we can think about jiu-jitsu, we can think about any kind of pursuit. What do you think makes a great life? Is it the highest peak of achievement? You know, you think about like an Olympic gold medal, the highest level of performance, or is it the longevity of performance, of doing many amazing things and doing it for a long time? I think the latter is kind of what we talk about in at least American society. You know, we want people to be healthy, balanced, perform well for a long time. And then there's maybe like the gladiator ethic, which is the highest peak, is what defines a
You
good
asked
life.
an initial question, which what makes a great life, but
Yes.
then pointed towards two options, one of longevity versus
Are there other
degree of difficulty.
options?
There's got to be a lot more than that, surely. Um, uh, I mean, think about, first of all, we have to understand from the start that there's never going to be an agreed upon set of criteria for this is a great life from all perspective. If you look from the perspective of, say, Machiavelli, then Stalin lived a great life. He was highly successful at what he did. He started from nothing, so the degree of difficulty in what he did was extraordinarily high. He had massive impact upon world history. He oversaw the defeat of almost all of his major enemies. He lived to old age and died of natural causes. So from Machiavelli's point of view, he had a great life. If you ask a Ukrainian farmer in the 1930s whether he lived a great life, you get a very different answer. So everything's going to come from what perspective you begin with. You're going to look out at the world with a given point of view, and you're going to make your judgments. Was this a great life, or was this a terrible life? Going back to your point, you were actually, I think, focusing the question on more in terms of great single performances versus longevity of performances.
Yes.
Presumably, this isn't really a question about what makes a great life then, because there's so much more than that to a great life.
I don't know. I'm going to push back on that. So I think their parallels are very much closer than you're making them seem. I think let's compare Stalin. Stalin is an example of somebody who held power, considered by many to be one of the most powerful men ever. He held power for 30 years. So that's what I'm referring to, longevity. And then there's a few people, I wish my knowledge of history was better, but people who fought a few great battles and they did not maintain power. But they were,
Let's contrast, say, for example, Alexander the Great,
yes.
who died at 33 from probably unnatural causes, had around 4 to 5 truly defining battles in his life, which responsible for the lion's share of his achievements, and burned very bright, but didn't burn long.
Yes.
Stalin, on the other hand, started from nothing and quietly, methodically worked his way through the revolutionary phase and gained increasing amounts of power. And as he said, went all the way to the end of his career. There's definitely something to be said for longevity. But as to which one is greater than the other, you can't give a definition or a set of criteria which will definitively say this is better than that.
But when you look,
ultimately, we look at Alexander as great, but in a different way, and we look at Stalin. I don't think many people would say Stalin was a great person, but from the Machiavellian point of view, he would say he was great also.
but when you think about beautiful creations done by human beings in the space of, say, martial arts, in the space of sport, what inspires you? The peak of performance?
I see where you're coming from, Lex. It's a great question. For me, it always comes down to degree of difficulty. But things are difficult in different ways, okay? A single, flawless performance in youth is still that wins a gold medal. Let's say, for example, Nadia Comaneci won the Olympic gold medal in gymnastics, the first person ever to get a perfect score. If she had disappeared after that, we would still remember that as an incredible moment. And the degree of difficulty to to get a perfect score in Olympic gymnastics is just off the charts. And contrast that with someone who went to 4 Olympics and got 4 silver medals. I mean, they're both incredible achievements. They're just different. The attributes that lead to longevity typically tend to conflict with the attributes that bring a powerful single performance. One is all about focus on a particular event. The other is on spreading your resources over time. Both present tremendous difficulties. There's no need to say one is better than the other.